Have you ever been miles from help, only to realize your heavy pack doesn't have the one tool you need? That happened to me on a camping trip. It's based on 5 principles that let me carry less, but stay prepared for anything. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to build your own kit and the one piece of gear that saved my last trip, so stick around. When it comes to camping, I followed these 5 rules when it comes to packing. So the 5 rules I came up with is rule number 1, you want something to cut with. Number 2, you want a way to make fire. Number 3, you want hydration and purification of water. Rule 4 is light and illumination. And 5 is you want to have a first aid and signal. So these are the rules that I came up with because I found I was packing too much. Also, I realized 3/4 of stuff I wasn't even using. So I was like, well, why am I doing this? That's why I came up with these 5 rules. So let's get to it. We're going to start with rule number 1. So rule number 1 is you want something to cut with. These are the 2 knives that I go camping with, and I find that these are the ones I usually use the most. All right, the first knife I'm going to come up with is I have this generic fish fillet knife. The reason why I came up with this fish fillet knife is because fish fillet knives are very flexible, and I love the fact that I could use this for anything from like cutting food or even cutting rope, but I mostly use this for food. So when it comes to our campfire food, I love the fact that this blade here is perfect for general cutting. So this is why I chose this knife for camping. And also too, I'll sometimes bring this when we go boating. What's great is this, because it's a fisherman's knife and I float in water. If I took this is actually empty. So it fills up with air and it will actually float. So this is really great, especially if I'm going boating. I'll take this with me and I know if it drops in the water, it will float and not sink to the bottom. So this is why I came up with a fish fillet knife. So the second one I came up with is my Gerber strong arm. Now, I'm gonna have to be honest with you. This Gerber strong arm is not what you think. This is an AliExpress knockoff. And the reason why I came up with this is because I'll show you. This is my actual real Gerber strong arm, and I love this knife so much that I didn't want to bring it camping and like damage it. So this is why I came up with a clone. Now, I'm not going to get into what distinguishes from one to the other. I promise you I will make a dedicated video on that. So again, it just does the job for, this is more heavy duty knifing if I need something like cut. So, I mean, the thickness of the blade is spectacular. So that's why I came up with this knife here. So those 2 items, other than an axe and hatchet, are part of my rule 1 of camping, of cutting. So now let's move on to the second rule, is going to be fire. All right, we're moving on to rule 2. So rule 2 is fire. So you can't go camping without fire. This is my fire kit that I always carry. If this kind of looks familiar, it's because I mimicked the fire kit that I have in my previous video of my EDD 2.0. So I recreated it for a secondary one in my camping kits. This is what I have. I'll open this up and I'll show you what's in here. These are the essentials that you would need when you go camping. First up, I have 3 boxes of waterproof matches. So if it's raining, I don't have to worry about not lighting my matches. Second thing is my ferro rod. This is to basically, if I need to start a fire quickly or I ran out, or if I just want to be adventurous and try to start a fire, I will take this and light a fire by using this. All right, next up is my fire starter paracord. So this serves as a dual purpose. I can use this as a fire starter, or I can use it for around the campsite for tying stuff down or whatever I need to use it for. So this serves as a dual purpose. And this is a unique, but yet an important item that I have in my fire kit. From there, this is my primary fire starter that I have here. I don't go out without it. It's a great thing to have, and I absolutely need it for what I need it to do. So I have that right there. All right, next up in my fire kit, I have my vintage Camillus US military knife. This is like one of those Swiss Army type knives. I've had this ever since I was a little boy. I have no idea how old this is. It's built like a tank, so I probably realize why the US military would have this. If anybody knows how old this thing is, drop a comment, because I have no idea. I would love to know how old this is. But anyways, this is what I have in my fire kit, just for nostalgic reasons. I had it for so long, so this is my knife for the fire kit. And then finally, I have my plasma lighter. This is great. This is windproof, rainproof, and I just love this thing. And this is my primary means of lighting stuff too. And it's just fun to use. So this is my plasma fire lighter. All right, so that's it for my fire kit. Now let's move on to rule 3, hydration and purification. For rule 3, hydration and purification, there's two things I like to carry. Well, actually three. So obviously I'm going to bring enough water that it will need. Usually the campsites do have water, but just in case of an emergency or something does happen, these are the two things I always carry for an emergency. Number one, I will carry, these are what you call water tablets. These are for if you take some water out of a river or a lake or something like that, you can actually drop a couple of these in the water and wait the recommended time and it will purify your water. So that's one option. The second option, what I like to carry is basically this is the life straw. You can literally take this to a creek and drink out of it by sucking on the straw. So this is what I have for water purification. But what I like to do is side on the air of caution. I like to use both. I'll take water from a creek, fill up my container. I'll drop a couple of these, I believe it's half an hour to make sure it does its job. Then I'll take that water and use a straw to drink it. I want to be 100% sure when it comes to drinking water. I don't want to get any diarrhea or weird diseases. So that's why I carry these as a backup emergency. Obviously, I would carry enough water. These are meant for a backup purposes. This is for rule 3 for hydration and purification. And now we're going to move on to rule 4, lighting and illumination. All right, for rule 4 of lighting illuminations, these are some of the basic things that I carry all the time. The first thing I'll carry is my trusty Energizer weather ready lantern. This thing is great. I had this for many years and I love it. It does have some options for lighting. This is basically daylight lighting and then LED. This is basically a dimmer light. So these are the different types of options. I love this thing because A, it's built like a tank. B, you can actually hang it like so from whatever, and it's just hands-free. And like I said, this thing, I've had this for so long that's why I always carry this item when I go camping. So that's my lighting. Second thing I like to do is basically I'll just have a handheld flashlight. Most of the times we're at an RV site, but anyways, I just like to carry something else too. So basically this is my streamline light. I have this for my lighting purposes. This is great. I use this for work. I actually bought a second one for myself because I love this so much. So this is my Streamlight Polytech X for camping because of the ruggedness, and I didn't want to damage my O-light. So this is why I carry this type of flashlight for camping. Finally, this is more fun than anything, and the kids love it. I love to bring glow sticks. Glow sticks are great because number one, they're great for backup lighting. I purposely bought the yellow just because it's a little bit brighter. What's great is for kids, like, you know, if you give these to your kid, and they can have hours of fun as a parent. If you give this to them to wear around, then you can keep track of where there are basically them having these on them. It's almost like a homing thing, or it's something that I can quickly visually see where they're at if they're actually playing with this. So this is why I have these for A, for backup, and B, just to entertain my kids. So this is why I have this light sticks on here too. So these are basically my primary means of lighting illumination. All right, so we're going to go on to the last one. The last one is for first aid and signal. All right, we're on to the last rule. So rule number 5 that I have is first aid and signal. So I'm going to bring in the last two pieces here. I will start with signal. So basically this right here is I have my trusty whistle slash compass slash thermometer. So this is just great. This is obviously I don't know if I would really trust the compass. I never really needed to use the compass. I guess the thermometer is okay, but I mostly use this for whistle. So if I need to get somebody's attention or the kids' attention or whatever I need to do, this is my primary means for my signal for camping. And then lastly is going to be my first aid kit. So obviously it's very important to have a first aid kit when you go camping because who knows how far away you are from the hospital. So that's why having not only a first aid kit, but something that has a little bit more stuff in there so you can deal with situations that could happen until medical personnel arrives or you're on your way to the hospital. This is where I level up on my first aid. This is my first aid kit. The front of it, as you can see, I have a date on here. So replace 2028. The reason why I do that is because I wanted to make sure that none of the stuff will expire. So I wrote down a date of 2028. So I know when I see it that I have to replace everything in here, bring in some new items. So everything is fresh and stocked. So I got this at work, one of those gifts that we got one of the Christmases. And I think it's great. It's been my camping first aid kit for forever. So opening this up, There's basically a lot of things that you can put in here, anything from knives to OPA or anything like that too. But seriously, if you're carrying an OPA, you might be a little bit over your head. But anyways, we have a first aid book here. If you need to brush up on some of your medical skills, I will open this up, and I'm not going to go over everything. I'm going to go over some of the basics or some of the high points here. Medical gloves that I can carry if I need to treat not only my family, but if somebody gets hurt, I can treat them, put on my latex gloves so that I know that I'm protected. I have all kinds of sterile pads, from abdominal pads to small pads to tension bandages. I really stock up on the bandages only for the fact that I don't know how far away from a hospital. That's why I increase my bandage use. And then from there, I have the things like typically I have my Band-Aids. From here, I have here's my alcohol wipes for disinfecting. And also what I love to carry too is this cold pack. Basically what I'll do is as soon as I get to the campsite, I'll actually throw this into the freezer, let it freeze for a couple hours, and it's ready to go. If I need to use it, I can take this out and use it on anything from swelling. So I always have a gel pack ready to go just in case if I need it for injuries. There's scissors, there's tension, bandages, wipes, just everything you need. Biohazard bag. And then the last two things, other than bandages, the two things I always use is the first thing is you can't go camping without a good insect repellent. So I have this right here, Great Outdoors. I believe I got this from Walmart. What I recommend is something that has a high D count. This one right here, it has 30%. This is good for things like mosquitoes, black flies, deer flies, and ticks and everything like that too. So get yourself a good insect repellent. And also too, if you don't really like the smell of these things, you can get ones that smell good. So that's what I always seem to carry. And the second thing is if the insects get past this repellent, then I always have afterbite. So this thing here is a godsend when it comes to getting bit by mosquitoes. You put this on and it eases the inflammation. It's great for that use. So this is basically my medical first aid kit that I carry when I go camping. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to have some final thoughts now. All right. That's my 5-part system: a fail-safe cutting tool, a reliable fire kit, a redundant water system, dual source lighting, and a practical first aid and signaling kit. It isn't just a packing list. It's a mindset that keeps you focused on the experience, not the weight on your back. What's the one piece of gear you never camp without? Drop it in the comments. And if this helped you, hit and subscribe for more real-world gear tests. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.